Nettie looked on enviously at Jules's sexified micro-Swiss traditional dress costume, her breasts in the scooped blouse offered up like peaches on a plate. She'd look good in it too, she knew, given half the chance. OK, maybe not as good as her glamorous colleagues. She didn't have legs up to the ceiling or a washboard tummy for starters, but her gentle curves and almond eyes, both in shape and colour, and crowning glory, a sleek hazelnut mane that was both swishy and shiny, deserved better than to be mummified in this monstrous get-up.
Yeah, maybe. It was a closing down sale and there were only 3 of these costumes left.
Jules nodded in agreement, tugging her top down a little lower.
The only other thing they had was a giant banana, apparently. I think Mike figured he'd done you a favour.
He'd be doing me a favour if he could point out to me where exactly in my job description it says anything about dressing up in costumes. We are professionals, for heaven's sake.
Jules shrugged helplessly. Well, look on the bright side. At least you get to be warm in that thing. It's flipping freezing out here.
I'll happily swap, Nettie said quickly.
Nah, you're all right.
Jules winked, her light brown eyes dancing with mischief. I rather like the look of that Canadian racer. What's his name? Cameron Stanley?
Yeah, him.
I reckon this might help my cause. She fiddled some more with her neckline and tucked stray wisps of her hair back into her short, stubby plaits. Her dark, curly hair fell to just below her jawline, and they had had a devil of a job weaving it back. Do you reckon he's got a girlfriend? No idea, Nettie muttered, glowering that she'd have no chance of pulling in this outfit. Not that she'd want to go out with any of the guys here. They were mad, the lot of them. Certifiable, in fact. Why else would anyone willingly throw themselves down a steep and winding ice track on skates? On the other side of the screens where they were standing, the lights strobed red, pink, blue and green, the roars of the crowd getting louder as the DJ whipped them into a frenzy. It was more like a rock concert than a sporting event, although the sponsors, and her marketing agency's star clients, White Tiger, had carved a niche for themselves supporting the hardcore extreme sports that were practically uninsurable, attracting a radical, die-hard crowd, and this annual event had become the fans' favourite fixture. And here she was, in the thick of it, dressed as a giant blue bunny. Nettie picked up her collection bucket. The first heats were completed and they would be ready at any moment for the second round to begin. Then they could go round collecting money for Tested, the testicular cancer charity currently benefiting from White Tiger's corporate social responsibility, CSR, beneficence. Honestly, why are they taking so long? Jules tutted, peering round the White Tiger sponsor's board to the racetrack, warming her bare arms with her hands. I'll die of exposure if they carry on like this. Nettie came up behind her and wrapped her furry arms around her friend. At 5'3", she was usually 3 inches shorter than Jules, but was currently 2 feet taller thanks to her giant head. Don't say I never do anything for you.
Ah, that's so nice.
Jules sighed as she watched a couple of the engineers talking in a huddle at the top of the ramp. They were wearing pensive expressions and talking intermittently into their headsets, occasionally rattling at the starting gates beside them. That doesn't look good. But Nettie's attention was elsewhere. She wasn't great with heights, and the ice-skinned course, built upon specially adapted scaffold towers, rose 60 metres above ground level. Narrow spectator aisles flanked the run on either side, and Nettie could see the long-haired, goateed supporters beginning to get restless, their gloved hands starting to pound the boards. Most of them looked just like the gnarly guys all padded up behind the gates, helmets and skates on and ready to go, punching their hands into their fists as they kept their adrenaline and aggression levels up. Ice-cross downhill racing wasn't a sport for the faint-hearted.